Let's talk some Spanish football, shall we? Because it looks like Rodri is heading to Barcelona. Yep, it looks like the Catalan Giants will be adding yet another World Cup winner to their ranks, with the Spanish captain on his way to the La Liga champions after leaving Manchester City for 76.5 million euros. First of all, let's look at this, Jules, from the Manchester City perspective. With all the issues or whatever we just talked about, even though we know it's early on, we know exactly how good a player Rodri can be, what kind of a role he has, especially what he had and won at Manchester City. So how big of a loss really is this now at this stage of his career for City?
I mean, I think he's a loss for what we saw he was capable of doing in the World Cup with Spain. But let's not forget that last season he didn't play that much. The season before, he obviously had a long, very serious injury, that he's 30 years old, that he has only 1 year left on his contract. So if you're Manchester City and you see that offer coming from Barcelona, which is an incredible offer, really, for a player of his age, with his injury record before, with the contract that he was still on, as I mentioned, just a year left on it, to be offered that kind of money, even for Rodri, even for a former Ballon d'Or winner, for a World Cup winner, for anything you want, you take it. For City, you take it. You get that money for Rodri, you get 60 million for Reinders coming from Saudi Arabia. This is almost like a miracle. Really, it's miraculous for them to get that money. And then you can go and sign Boadi and sign Enzo, and then you've already signed Elliot Anderson, and you've got the 3 new midfielders because you also lost Bernardo Silva, and this one for nothing. So from a City point of view, you have to take that offer. And also, you were not sure what Rodri would give you this season. He's already injured. He had that surgery on his back. He won't be back before October at the earliest, I think. And if you're City and if you're Enzo Maresca, you think, hang on, I could not have you for the whole of pre-season, for the start of the season. By the time you come back, I think it makes a lot of sense from a City point of view. For Rodri, I'm not too sure, but certainly from a Barcelona point of view, really, you're gonna put that money down on a player like him? On that, I'm really struggling to understand the logic.
Ale?
Well, I think the logic from Barcelona, and let me just clarify this and say it's not my logic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking what Barcelona are probably thinking. If you go back to last season and Pedri and the role that he had at Barcelona, he became sort of that deeper line midfielder. And it limited his presence in the attack. And we saw some of his struggles in the World Cup in that he was trying to take that deeper position as he had been doing with Barcelona, and Rodri was already there. And so what I'm thinking that Barcelona is probably thinking is Rodri can play the deeper line midfield, and then that allows Pedri the freedom to get forward and get in contact with Fermín López, with Dani Olmo, with Lamine Yamal, with Anthony Gordon, with Rafinha. And he can then be a presence in the attacking 18-yard box. He became very much a guy who was connecting from the back line and doing it at a very high level, because Pedri did play at a very high level last season for Barcelona in La Liga. But I think it limited his touches in the attacking half, in the final third. And I think he does have in him, in his game, to be able to provide that final pass, to be able to provide that final touch. He has that sort of vision. And so I think you waste some of that if he is 60 yards away from goal. So I'm guessing, this is only a guess, I'm guessing that this is what Barcelona are thinking. We have a deeper line midfielder in Rodri that frees Pedri to get forward, and that makes us a better team attacking. It's only a guess.
Only a guess. Frank, how do you see Rodri fitting in at Barcelona, especially helping out that defense that we know has been known to be a little bit vulnerable, but we talked so much about how much of an influence Rodri was with Cubarsí at the World Cup, and that probably could work in Barcelona's favor as well.
Well, you almost said it all. I mean, if you don't have a Rodri injured, of course, Rodri is important. Is even crucial. I was looking at the resume, and I say, what the hell, except the Ballon d'Or, because you all know that I don't care. But everything was perfect. The 4-time Premier League, the Champions League, the World Cup, the European Championship. The guy won it all, and that's amazing. And that guy was going to bring something special to the club. There is an aura around him, and that guy will bring, you know, positivity, and of course will help maybe the younger player, the player who are looking for the same kind of fame. So if he's not injured, yes, it cost a lot to Barcelona, but that was going to be a plus. I want to believe that's going to be a plus. and I really hope that he's not going to be injured because what a player. The guy is a masterpiece in his position.
Yeah, Rodri definitely is quite the special player on his day. We will see, though, if that happens. But, Jules, I want to talk about some other potential business that Barcelona could do, and that is particularly up front in their hunt for a striker. We know that they're still at quite the impasse because they did want Julien Alvarez. Atletico de Madrid saying, not for now. So now I'm hearing that they're turning their attention to Viktor Gyokeres. Tell us about that, the likelihood of it happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's another name that's been linked to them. Luis Suarez as well, the other one, the one from Sporting, who had a very good season, the Colombian last season, also linked with them because they lost Ferran Torres, who went to PSG, and they got good money for him with only 1 year left on his contract as well. Obviously, Robert Lewandowski left. On the little graphic that we showed earlier on the possible starting 11 for the first game, we put Rafinha as a number 9. That could be Anthony Gordon too, but whoever that is between the two, they're not proper number 9. So I think they need to go and sign a proper striker. And that's where I struggle a little bit as well with Rodri, because if you want Rodri, okay, I can understand, although there's also Frankie de Jong that we haven't mentioned in our little dialogue about Rodri. Why don't you spend some of that money on a number 9 first? Because surely you need that more than a 6. And then if you still have money left for a club that has been struggling financially for the last 5 years minimum, then yeah, go and sign Rodri. But right now, for me, it was not the priority. However, they decided to go for Rodri good. Now they need a number 9, and I'm not sure where they're going to find the money and what kind of budget they have for that. I don't think Gyokeres is the answer either, to be honest. I'm not sure Luis Suarez is either, to be fair. So I'm not sure where you go now, because again, a bit like what we said for City earlier, we are already in the last 2 weeks of this transfer window. So the options are less than they were a month ago. Other clubs know that you're looking for a number 9, so they're more likely to increase their valuation of their players if you might want them, because they know that you have the urgency to signing a number 9 and you are panicking about your number 9. And that's not looking good for Barcelona.
Never underestimate the ability for Barcelona to find some financial gymnastics to get who they want.
Right, but to Jules's point, it's not just Frankie de Jong. They got Marc Bernal in that position as well. So if there was a position in which Barcelona has some depth, it's in that number 6, number 8, that sort of midfield pairing and the rotation that they have made and Hansi Flick has made in those positions. And yes, again, you would think that the priority would be sorting out your number 9 position, or at the very least that you don't allow Ferran Torres to walk out the door if you don't have the solution to your problem already. That's the part that I don't understand. You want to sell Ferran Torres, okay. But that's because you got the other things sorted out. If you don't have the next evolution sorted out, already figured out, then you can't let this guy walk out the door because you don't have any other option. I don't know how that works.
But Ale, this is your area of the pitch. If they do get Gyokeres or go for it, he's not the answer.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
What doesn't fit there? Huh? What doesn't fit? What don't you like?
No. Well, none of it fits. The style of Barcelona does not fit Viktor Gyokeres. Imagine if he wasn't touching the ball at Arsenal when he would come on the field. At Barcelona, are you kidding me? He just doesn't. He doesn't fit. He doesn't seem to fit, and it's not a guy that you would think. If you think about how Barcelona plays in La Liga, and they have all the possession of the ball, and it's all intricate passing. The only times that they get running is when they get out in transition with Lamine Yamal, when he's playing that outside of the left foot ball to Rafinha. Those are the only times in which they get out running. But for the most part, teams are going to be sitting behind the ball, and there's no space for Viktor Gyokeres to run into. And so are you telling me that this is the guy that you want to play a little give and go, a little 1-2, a little intricate, a little something here, a little tack, a little back heel action? Is this the guy that you want for that? I'm going to say, no.
Frank, you find this one funny too, because you chuckled when I was mentioning the link between Gyokeres and Barcelona.
Yeah, because everybody will do the same, you know. But as Ali said, no, don't do that.
No.
Doesn't fit. No. Because that's what it is. That's the reality of it. I think we know football, and we have respect to every player. But you have to talk about somebody who can fit or not into a team and a tactic and the way that team plays. Gyokeres doesn't fit at all. That's clear. That's obvious, and we know that. So no, it's not going to work. Don't even try. It's not going to be good for the player who's going to be lost and not going to touch any ball. And try to find somebody else. Or maybe try to find nobody because you don't have the money for it. So just play with the players you have. You know, if you have Gordon or you have Fermin or whoever it can be at front, even Olmo can play as a striker. Play like that. I think it's going to be enough again to win the La Liga.
Yeah, well, Jules, just final one on Gyokeres to Barcelona before we let you go, because Gyokeres still also just starting out life really at Arsenal. Is he someone that they would be willing to let go?
And I think it's hard to tell. We saw Kai Havertz starting ahead of him, obviously, in that Community Shield against City. I expect Kai Havertz to start the league on Friday night at the Emirates against Coventry. He's been very good in pre-season. When Gyokeres obviously has been more on the bench and coming on for Havertz. So it looks like maybe right now the pecking order for that number 9 position at Arsenal is Havertz first and then Gyokeres second. So maybe they are just open to everything. I think they need also that kind of competition between your number 9, these 2 different profiles. We expect Gabriel Jesus to leave the club. So Arsenal can't really go through the season with only Kai Havertz. So even if Gyokeres was to leave, whether he went to Barcelona or anywhere else, they would have to replace him. And that's hard to do when there's only 2 weeks left on the transfer window, as we explained before. And it's not easy to find a prolific number 9. So I don't expect him to move. However, he might feel like he's not going to play much at Arsenal if Kai Havertz is there, fit, and ahead of him in that pecking order, and might force a move. I don't think that's his style, although we saw that at Sporting when he signed for Arsenal. But again, I agree with Ali and Frank. He's not the right fit for Barcelona regardless.
All right, so nobody a fan of this one. To put it in Ali's words, no. We didn't even need the big words today. We could have just said no. All right, well, Jules, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch up with you again soon for
that's
even
it for
more
Jules?
big words. That's it for Jules.
What's he going to fix the wallpaper behind him or what? What's
This
going
is
on?
better than his French chateau fake background. He did not like that one.
That's not French.
With the tulips
No, that's not French. That must be English.
Yeah, that wallpaper is very English. It's giving grandma English. But either way, Jules, we love you either way.